That brain fog, that fatigue that never leaves, those skin issues nothing seems to fix. What if it's not just in your head? What if your body is sending out distress signals that everyone, even modern medicine, is taught to ignore? Most people will just mask these signs with temporary fixes. But if you don't understand how to repair the one root cause we cover at the very end, you risk staying stuck in this cycle of silent suffering forever. Silent suffering, you know that feeling. That nagging sense that something is deeply off, even when all your lab tests come back normal. It's a profound frustration, a kind of isolation, because you start to believe you're making it up, but you are not. The first sign, and one of the most overlooked, isn't in your stomach at all. It's in your head. It's that brain fog, that inability to focus, the memory lapses, that feeling of moving through life as if there's a veil between you and the world. You might also be experiencing mood swings, a low-grade anxiety you can't shake, or a sadness that has no clear source. This is not a flaw in your character. It is one of the most powerful signals of inflammation stemming from your gut. There is a direct, superhighway of communication between your gut and your brain, called the gut-brain axis. When your intestinal ecosystem is in turmoil, it sends inflammatory signals that cross the blood-brain barrier, directly impacting your neurology, your mood, and your mental clarity. You're not losing your mind, your gut is trying to speak to it. The second sign is written all over your skin. Persistent adult acne, eczema, psoriasis, rosacea, or just dull, dry, lifeless skin. We spend so much of our time and money on creams and serums, thinking the problem is on the surface. But the skin is often a direct mirror of what's happening on the inside. When your intestinal lining becomes permeable, what's often called leaky gut, it's like a finely woven cheesecloth that has developed larger holes. Undigested food particles, toxins, and microbes can then leak into your bloodstream. Your immune system, now on high alert, reacts by creating a low-grade systemic inflammation throughout your entire body. And where does that fire often show up? On your skin, your body's largest organ of detoxification. Trying to fix your eczema or acne without healing your gut is like bailing water out of a leaky boat without ever plugging the hole. You exhaust yourself for a result that never truly lasts. Real healing and real radiance comes from a calm and healthy interior. The third sign is that crushing fatigue. Not just the normal tiredness after a long day, but a deep, chronic exhaustion that's there when you wake up and never really leaves, even after a full night of sleep. You push through with coffee and energy drinks, but it's like trying to run a car on an empty tank. This exhaustion is directly tied to two key things happening inside. First, that chronic inflammation we've been talking about consumes a phenomenal amount of your body's energy reserves. Your body is constantly in a state of low-grade war, fighting an invisible enemy. Second is the malabsorption of nutrients. A damaged gut simply cannot properly absorb the vitamins and minerals that are essential for energy production, like iron, vitamin B12, and magnesium. You can eat the healthiest diet in the world, but if your gut lining is compromised, those precious nutrients pass right through you without ever fueling your cells. You are, in essence, functionally malnourished, even with a full stomach. And finally, let's not forget about joint pain. If you're experiencing migrating aches and pains, stiffness in the morning, or joints that feel sore for no reason, don't just write it off as getting older. That same systemic inflammation can settle in your joints, creating what's called a reactive arthritis. It isn't a collection of separate problems. These are all branches of the same tree, and the root is a gut that is crying out for help. Natural solution. Now that we've illuminated the suffering, let's talk about the most important part, the rebuilding. Because the wonderful, beautiful news is that your body has a magnificent capacity for self-repair. It wants to heal. It just needs you to provide the right materials and, most importantly, to stop adding fuel to the fire. The process of natural healing can be broken down into a few common sense steps. First, you must calm the inflammation. That begins by identifying and removing, at least for a while, the primary aggressors to the gut lining. For most people, this means gluten, conventional dairy products, and refined sugar. This isn't about demonizing these foods forever. It's about understanding that right now, for your body, they are like sandpaper on an open wound. You simply cannot heal if you keep scratching the injury. Also consider removing ultra-processed foods, which are filled with additives, emulsifiers, and preservatives that your digestive system doesn't recognize as real food. The goal is to return to a simple, real, whole foods diet, a plate filled with colorful vegetables, some fruit, high-quality proteins, and healthy fats. Just doing this for a few weeks can make a profound difference by lowering your body's inflammatory burden. This is the essential first step that allows your gut to finally take a breath. Once the fire has been calmed, we can begin to rebuild the wall. Your intestinal lining is made of cells that turn over very quickly, regenerating in a matter of days. But to do so, they need specific building blocks. One of the most important is an amino acid called L-glutamine. It is quite literally the preferred fuel source for the cells of your gut. It's found in abundance in homemade bone broth, an ancient remedy of incredible power, which is also rich in collagen and gelatin that act as a soothing, healing balm for the gut lining. Then, focus on foods rich in polyphenols, the vibrant colors in berries, dark leafy greens, and green tea. These are potent natural anti-inflammatories that help protect and repair the gut. Healthy fats, particularly the omega-3s found in small fatty fish like sardines and mackerel or in flax seeds, are critical for cooling inflammation on a systemic level. This isn't about a restrictive diet, it's about a reconstructive one. You are not depriving yourself, you are nourishing yourself on a much deeper level. You are giving your body the bricks and mortar it so desperately needs to fix the barrier that protects you from the outside world. This is a profound act of self-respect and self-love. Finally, and this may be the most crucial step for long-term healing, is to re-inoculate and cultivate your inner garden, your microbiome. A damaged gut is often home to an imbalance or a dysbiosis, where the less beneficial bacteria have taken over. We need to repopulate it with beneficial strains. This is the role of probiotic-rich fermented foods like kefir, raw sauerkraut, kimchi, and kombucha. These are living foods that help diversify and enrich your internal ecosystem. But just adding new seeds isn't enough. You have to feed them so they can take root and flourish. This is the job of prebiotics, specific types of fiber that you don't digest, but which serve as food for your good gut bacteria. You'll find them in things like garlic, onions, leeks, asparagus, and slightly unripe bananas. Imagine you are restoring the garden of your body. You've pulled the weeds, the inflammatory foods. You've amended the soil, repaired the lining, and now you are planting new seeds, probiotics, and giving them fertilizer, prebiotics. And overarching all of this, you must manage your stress. Chronic stress, through its direct line to the gut via the vagus nerve, can paralyze proper digestion and increase intestinal permeability. Simple practices like deep breathing, meditation, or spending time in nature are not a luxury. For gut health, they are a medical necessity. This path to healing isn't a sentence, it's an invitation to reconnect with your body, to listen to its whispers before they become screams. It's a return to an intuitive wisdom our modern world has caused us to forget. Your body is not your enemy, it is fighting for you every single second. The greatest act of self-care you can perform today is to start fighting alongside it. True inner peace, true health really does begin in your gut. This video felt like a huge wake-up call for me. Be honest, which part made you pause and think, that's me?